Some they call it functional alcoholism, but if you know anything about Ben, he's got vision with precision, microphones and a tinkle of derision. You're about to hear what beer can be. It's time for Barley and Me.
Welcome to Barley and Me. I'm your host, Ben Rice. This is episode 121. We're here today on the Princeton campus of Farmers Brewing in Princeton, California. With us today, we got the owner, brewer, to everything, Bill Weller. How's it going, Bill?
It's going good. How are you doing?
Excellent, excellent. So we're here. Let me ask you this question. So it's not open as a tap house, tap room, but you are distributing already. So how's business here at Farmers?
So far, it's going really well. We just 3 weeks ago started distributing our beers out. Yesterday was our first batch of our light beer that went out, got released on Friday, and made a bunch of deliveries. So that's exciting. I built the brewery a lot around that light beer. You know, we are farm, so I wanted to make, you know, a lot of people think, oh, craft brewery, why are you making a light beer like a Coors or a Bud Light, you know? But it's, to me, it's a real, I see all the locals, everybody drinks it. There's a, you know, everybody drinks a light beer, and that's where we wanted to go with the grains that we grow here. It's the perfect, we can make the perfect beer for that. It's a very hard beer to make.
For sure.
A lot of people think it's so easy, and I've learned a ton from making this particular beer. It's taken 50 batches to get where I want it to be. And in the little brewery here, and we built the big brewery, and it turned out the first batch is releasable, and it turned out exactly where I wanted it to, which I'm still in shock that our, you know, the beers we created in our little, we went from basically a 1-barrel brewery to a 40 barrel brewery in one fell swoop. So
a slow scale up.
Yeah. And I'm amazed. We did the sensory on it, on Friday as well, or Thursday. And the fact that it was true to brand, everything, we're extremely happy with.
Yeah. I think going in with a light lager is a very good idea, because as much as you're close to Chico, you're not Chico. This is a community that's been drinking Coors and Miller and
Correct.
Bud their whole life. And you need to give them something that's like not only something they're used to, but something that is local.
Yep.
So they can be like, not only am I drinking something I like, but it's supporting a person I like. And that can make it an easier transition. Then you can be like, hey, try our honey wheat. And then you just slowly grow them into what you're doing. Get a saison, a little stout action going, and all of a sudden you got it.
Yeah. Like I said, we put a lot of special equipment in the brewery just for that beer. You know, going back, I guess we should go back a little bit.
Let's do it.
I grew up on a farm here. When we got out of college, my brother and I, you know, took over, started our own business. We started, I guess we were around 700 acres, and we've grown it to around 6,000 acres right now. A lot of that is rice. There's a lot of trees, so almonds and walnuts as well. And I'm growing wheat now for the beer, special variety of wheat that we grow for the beer here. And, you know, I always wanted to homebrew, but the farm took all my time. When I started one day, I just said, you know, I got to do this. It's something I've always wanted to do. So made my list, built my little brewery in the garage. Went from there, and, you know, started developing the recipes and working with, you know, I wouldn't have done this if I couldn't make the grains that we grow here work. So that's, to me, that's a lot of the passion comes from, hey, I grow this, I can make beer out of it. You know, if I didn't just want to go buy a bag of barley and make beer out of it. I wanted, you know, from the ground up, you know. And rice I do use a lot of rice. To me, it's a great ingredient. Those clean, crisp beers, that's what we're after. But it's a nightmare to work with. And I've done hundreds of experiments with different types and different all kinds of different temperatures, everything. And I've, over time, I figured out what the secret, the secret to making it work easily and good.
Are you using just one variety of rice, or are you using several varieties
I
of
am,
rice?
yes, right now. The California predominantly grows, it's called medium grain Japonica style rice. Most of it is used in sushi. So when you go to a sushi restaurant, that's the type of rice that California grows.
Okay.
Yes.
So no like red rice or anything like that?
No,
Okay.
we don't grow any of that. We've grown some other specialty, but not a whole lot.
Yeah, and I like that we did a little tour, and you've got a production facility, which was shockingly large. I like that we walked into the room we were recording in is like your initial plan. Like, then now it's kind of like you're like, oh, we'll try to see if this works. Testing site.
Yeah, the place we're in now is an old shop. It looks from the outside, it looks kind of dilapidated. We call it the meth lab. And it was. I got tired of setting everything up in the garage, tearing it down every time I wanted to brew. So this little building was perfect. We weren't really using it for much, so I gutted it, redid all the wiring, poured some floors and drains in here, and then started spending a lot of time in here messing around. It was so much easier. We could make, I could try different stuff. I've gone through tons of different techniques, and I'd take a batch, split it 4 ways with different yeast, different temperatures, and finding out, what works
To get you that crisp,
right,
light lager.
and from the other beers we make too.
Yeah.
It's funny. I've been doing this for 9-10 years, home brewing. Never made an IPA the whole time. Probably one of the only home brewers ever to never make an IPA. The first IPA we made was when we were still in here selling out of the 1 barrel, just keeping a few customers happy and seeing how it goes. And so the Resilience beer was the first IPA we've ever made. Our head of sales now is like, come on, just make one, Bill. So I went home, and I get inspired by the name. Come up with a name first, and then kind of created the beer. So it's a session IPA. It's more drinkable.
Still keeps to your...
Yeah, it keeps to our roots. So it's only 5.8%, and we call it sun up till sundown. So you can drink it sun up till sundown, but it also goes with the farmer's work ethic. Yeah. Which I do a lot of sun up till sundown here at the brewery. It's been 3 years building this place. Yeah. And I'm putting in, it's been 7 days a week for most of those 3 years. And so that beer does mean a lot to me, just the name. And I started really enjoying the IPA now.
Yeah. Yeah. And I imagine it's got like a bright citrusy flavor, and then like a deep caramel color. So sun up bright and early. And then
the color
sundown
looks like a sunset or a sunrise, and it's just smooth. That rice smooths everything out. And it's not bitter. And my wife hates IPAs, and she tries it, and she goes, I actually really like that. So I'm getting lots of really good feedback on it.
Yeah, but going back to the rice thing, when we were doing the tour, you have a whole contraption, a whole thing designed just to make sure this rice is usable.
Yes, for sure. So going back to the meth lab here, I was gonna maybe build a 7 barrel inside the meth lab, and started putting my list together of what I needed. And brewers, you always look on Pro Brewer, find all used kind of stuff. Sitting there one Saturday morning, and this 40 barrel system came up. I looked at it and went, that's interesting. Wonder, the wheels started turning, and called the guy. It was located in Phoenix, Arizona. It was an old Tommyknocker brewery. They expanded back in the day, and then it went defunct. So it'd been sitting in this building for, I believe, 8 or 9 years. Oh, wow. Just collecting dust. The tweakers had stole a bunch of copper off of it. So anyway, I called the guy that Saturday, and he said, I can meet you tomorrow. I said, all right. Booked a flight, flew down to Phoenix for the day. Looked at it and like, oh my God, it was, for the beers we make, this equipment was absolutely perfect. The sizing, the way we do our light beer, we do brew at high gravity. So there was 80 barrel fermenters. The bright tanks were 160 barrel. So boom, we made, I can make an 80 barrel batch of our light beer. We dilute it 1-to-1. Turns out 160 barrel is, I couldn't have on paper made a better system. Yeah. and the price was phenomenal on it. It was in an old produce building. They were turning it into a tech. This whole area is kind of turned into a tech area. It was right near the stadium in downtown Phoenix. So this area was kind of the slums, and now it's turning into a tech area. So they wanted the equipment out of there. And
so they could start doing what they
I got 3 bids from some riggers down there, and it was a real pain in the butt to get it out of the building.
Oh yeah, rip it out.
It was 18 flatbeds of equipment to haul up here. So, I've always been very hands-on on the farm. Like to fix stuff and build stuff. So it was right up my alley. I mean, it took a long time for me and my wife I told her, I said, hey, you're not going to see me for a while. And then also to get the farm where I could step away.
Yeah.
To getting the farm to run smoother. My brother and I, we've been married to the farm since I got out of college, growing it. He wanted to get a little more time off. I wanted to do the brewery, so we focused on making the farm run smoother. Hired some great guys.
Gave some more responsibility to people that
you betcha
earned it.
And there's no way I could have done it. I mean, I couldn't have done any of this without great people. So the brewery's we've been hiring, trying to find the best experienced people here, and it's fun. That's part of the thing that is nice, when you find the guy. Oh, this is awesome. Yeah. And it's that means a lot, but it also puts a lot of pressure on me to I have a big responsibility now. We have quite a few people on the farm and working, and now the brewery's starting to catch up too.
Yeah. Did you, when you were hiring for the brewery, did you pull anybody from your farm staff?
I did not. Okay. No. So what we on the farm, I have always done the books, the paperwork, the regulations. We're in California, so they're unreal here. We won't get into that. And so when I knew I couldn't do all that and do this brewery, so we hired an office administrator, and she is phenomenal. So we split her, the brewery and the farm. They're separate entities. Okay. So
that way
she works half a day at one place, half a day at the other, and so it's been great.
Yeah. So how has the hiring process been? Like, where are you pulling from?
So all over the place. A lot of it's, I went through a headhunter in the beginning. That turned out, I had several people get to the interview round from around the country, really. And then right at the end, it came down to it. Oh, I didn't talk to my wife about this moving. And so the headhunters, it is what it is. They didn't ask that question.
Yeah.
And so,
I mean, to be fair, that question seems implied. It's like, well, I was planning on brewing it in my garage and mailing it to you. Isn't really a practical, occupational.
So that standard. Didn't, I had a brewer hired. He came out here, didn't move his family yet, and it didn't work out. It was a very tough decision on my part. I just knew it wasn't the perfect fit. And a great guy, nice guy, just didn't work out. And those are hard decisions, but they're decisions you have to make.
Because you have to have the right people.
You do.
Otherwise, you're shot.
So now we have a guy that came up from L.A.
Okay.
And he was so ready to get out of L.A.
Yeah. It's a slight contrast.
There's a huge contrast.
Yeah.
People don't know Princeton, the population sign says 490 people.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Just driving through, I was just like, oh, this is my childhood. Like, I was like, I was driving in here and there was only one other car on the road coming at me. And I'm like, I guarantee if I was from here, I would wave at them and they would recognize my car.
They probably did wave at you.
They're like, only one person's got a car that dirty of that style, and that's Ben. I know. Because that's exactly what it is. Like, you just see the car, you know whose car it is. There may be 15 Tahoes in town, but that's Jim's Tahoe.
Yep, exactly. And the farmer waved. Yep, there it is.
So that's very fun. And I love... so you get this giant brew, like all these supplies, and you're like, well, I got to build a brew house around it. Mm-hmm. So you had to start doing some digging to figure out how to produce to put into those barrels.
Yeah. I mean, I was... I went to Cal Poly and was got an engineering degree, so that's helped out a lot on putting this system together. Worked with a phenomenal company called Barnum Mechanical. They've built quite a few breweries and worked with a guy there. Basically, Kyle, his name's Kyle, him and I put our heads together and put this thing together along with some other, there's been a ton of twists and turns with the rice and wheat we had to employ a mash filter instead of a lauter tun.
Okay.
So that I thought there was only basically one manufacturer, a Belgium company, and it's like they tried their hardest not to sell me one. So a lot of twists and turns there. Original company that was going to help me bowed out. They said they just didn't have the engineering to do this. So I went back to the original manufacturer of the tanks, Canadian company called DME. And then a roundabout way, I got in touch with another company from Spain that builds mash filters. So called the Landalute, and I met with the owner in the craft brew conference in Tennessee, and I love their machine. So we employed that, and this DME outfit integrated the controls and did some engineering on the brew house. They shipped it. They put it on a truck, and the day they shipped it out, they went in the receivership. And so I'm stuck with this equipment with no controls, no one to talk to, how to put it together. And so there was a few sleepless nights there. They got finally 3 or 4 months later, they got bought out by a bigger company, and all the people that worked on it were back on ship. So that was a big sigh of relief. Yeah. And they had never,
I'm stressed.
They had never put a mash filter, the controls. So, this Canadian company, a Spanish company, were working together, and it all turned out great. Actually, when we commissioned that mash filter, the guy from Spain came out, and we brewed the first batch, and he's like, "Bill, this is I commission brew houses, and this is the smoothest commissioning day I've ever seen." And that first batch was released yesterday with our light beer. I said, everybody's asking, what beer are you going to brew first on this system? And I said, we're going to do the light beer. We're going to throw, that's the hardest beer, and let's throw everything at this system and see what happens. And it turned out great.
That's awesome. It's the first one in America, right?
The Landalute is the first mash filter of their style in America. Yes. Yeah. I remember when he was commissioning it and we were brewing the first batch. We went outside and you see the steam coming out of the building. He goes, his name was Adon, and he goes, "Bill, this is when you know a brewery is coming to life." And it's a moment I'll never forget. The first batch and seeing that come out of the building after 3 years was quite a, just after all the twists and turns and work and everything that's been thrown at us here.
Yeah,
the doubters, everything. So.
Yeah, 3 years of work.
Yes.
So when did it turn from the 1 barrel to the 40 barrel? Like, how long ago was that you came in?
When I found all this equipment was about this time 3 years ago. Okay, in March. So we're almost 3 years. And by the time we got it here, I hired an outfit to come in. All the lids had been stolen by the tweakers. Of course, those lids you couldn't find anymore. They didn't make the size. So I hired another outfit to come in, and this kid named Danny worked for this outfit. And so we threw him in our shop. I'd bring these tanks in one by one to him in the shop, our old shop. And all winter we sat there and he fixed all these tanks up, and Danny now is our first employee, and he's our facility manager. And he's a great guy.
Because if something goes wrong, he knows exactly how to fix it at this point.
And so the company he worked for, actually, they came in and did a bunch of piping for the brew house itself. So it's kind of funny how all that works.
Yeah, you have to use the network you have. And I'd imagine in the farming community, there's lots of machinery. You know exactly who to call. Yep. And if they don't have it, they know somebody they can refer you to.
Yeah, it's all specialized equipment.
Yes. Exactly. And also, with the brewery taking 3 years, it's not that different from farming, where you're like getting your crops set up. That in the first year, your yield's a little lower, then it gets bigger and bigger, and you're used to spending that time to get the results that you're going to have if you put your work into it. Yeah.
So I've learned so much on the farm, which has transferred over to the brewing business. Just managing people, and we are self-distributing in a pretty wide swath right now. But I'm used to all the trucking regulations, so that's helped out a lot.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, oh, what do I do here? Now I've dealt with the trucks my whole life, so
Yeah.
we
And
know
you're
that.
Reading to Sacramento, correct?
Reading to Sacramento, yeah, that's kind of our first stop. I don't know if we'll self-distribute farther than that. It depends. Doesn't probably make sense, but we will either we will, or we'll hook up with another distributor as we kind of settle in here.
Yeah.
I'm Betsaida LeBron.
Hi, I'm Melissa McGillicuddy.
We're the producers of FemFest 2020. We're back for year 2, baby.
Yeah, this year join us March 20th through 22nd. We've got stand-up, sketch, and improv, all female performers, so it's going to be a blast.
Just a weekend of hilarity right here at the Sacramento Comedy Spot. There are passes available, there's tickets available, and they will sell out, because they definitely did last year.
We hope to see you at this year's FemFest. It'll be March 20th through the 22nd, and you can get tickets and passes online at saccomedyspot.com/FemFest.
Yes, and trust me, you do not want to sleep on this, babies. You want to get those tickets now.
Get them. You wanted to get one more babies in there.
I had to.
Yeah, it's. Can you kind of tell me a little bit more about like what you learned in farming that would help you here at the brewery?
First thing is just work ethic.
Yeah, that's first and foremost. This is a relaxing day for you.
It is. My wife's finally making me. You need to take a day, at least half a day off once a week. So I do feel more relaxed now that we've finally got this thing going. But farming is, we have our seasons where you're not working 7 days a week, but a lot during harvest is 7 days a week. The crops don't know what day it is.
Yeah.
And we do grow almonds, so there's a frost season. Sometimes you don't sleep. You stay up all night. You go sleep. You try and sleep in the orchard, and because you got to either turn water on, or we have helicopters on standby to push warm air to keep the trees so they still produce for the year.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of. It's like beer. I mean, you have to. It's a living thing. The yeast is a living thing. You have to manage it.
Yeah, you have to be aware of what's happening in the moment, what's affecting it, and how that will affect the end product.
Yep.
It's like, it seems like a small thing, but you're also early in the germination process, so that's a big thing.
Yeah. There's a lot of patience in farming, and there's a lot of patience in brewing.
A lot of hurry up and wait.
Go. Okay, stop. wait for it to go. Yeah.
It's like you're doing too much. You have to pull back.
Yeah. So I picked two of the most labor-intensive professions there are to immerse myself in.
Yeah, and also just a ton of startup costs and regulations and...
Yeah, so the brewery, the regulations have been insane, all the different water permits. And now with the tasting room, we're out here not on a town where you have a water system. So we're going through the process of we have to become a public water system. If you serve 24 people over 59 days a year, you can serve a million people 58 days a year. But the laws are...
Everything changes.
Sometimes the laws, you just like, who came up with this garbage? But whatever. I'm so used to jumping through hoops. When we started this project, when we got our permit, we didn't have a ribbon cutting ceremony. I had my wife go buy a bunch of hula hoops, and so we had a hoop jumping ceremony.
Because you had to jump through a bunch of hoops.
Exactly. And we still have the pictures of us with hula hoops.
That makes sense. So there's this brewery I talked to in San Diego called Stave and Nail, and they do they're only open, they'll tell you we'll be open Friday, Saturday, Sunday on October, the second week.
Really?
I was like, that's kind of weird. I'm like, in my head, I'm like, it's because they have another job that they're doing because they're working at another brewery and this is a side project. But that 59 days might be why they do it.
Because of the public water system.
Yeah. They're like, maybe this is how until we have the funding to do that, that's how we're going to do it.
Uh-huh.
Wish I'd known this 3 months ago.
It's
been very useful. Gotcha.
Yep. It's good where we are too. There's certain things like our wastewater. There's no wastewater system here. So we had to go through a whole process. We're able to apply it 2 crops actually.
Right.
So we grow the crops right on site, and we can use our wastewater to grow those crops. It's kind of a
beautiful cycle.
Yeah, it is. We're a really green brewery.
Yeah.
Naturally.
And I think that just is a thing that happens when you have a farm-based brewery, because it's just so easy to put your spent grains back into it. If you have livestock, it's like, boom, we're feeding our livestock.
Yep.
It's just a lot more sustainable.
Yeah, we have a
and you could probably
cattle company. He comes, I tell him when we're brewing, and he comes, brings his trailer, and
I was going to say,
he
you
goes.
probably
And
have
the
somebody you
cows,
call and just like, come pick this up.
they really like our grain with the mash filter, leaves it really dry and like a cake. So the cows have been loving it.
Yeah, just like getting some hay. Just take a brick out, and
Yeah.
you're good to go.
Yep.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then what are your goals as far as what are your plans as far as your target date for opening your tap room, for getting your distribution?
Tap rooms, we're 2 months away. Just still going through the build out of it.
Looks almost finished though.
It's getting there.
in the frame
staffing,
of it.
Staffing it up. Just deciding when we want to be open out here. We're still going through a use permit. It goes in front of the planning commission in March, which is today the 1st of March? No, today's 29th, leap year. 29th February today.
Yeah.
So this next month we should get approved. That's the goal.
Right. But you never know. No guarantees in life, unfortunately.
Yeah. If not, there's a backhoe on site, and we can dig a hole and put somebody in it, I guess. That's always the joke around here.
Yeah. Only happens once or twice.
Yep. Where'd that inspector go? I don't know.
Yeah. It's like, no. What we mean is like, we dig it out so they can see what we've done.
Yeah.
And be like, oh, I missed that. You're approved.
Yep.
Obviously is what we're talking about.
Yep. Yep.
But yeah. So you're starting off with your light lager. I know you have like a honey wheat or something.
No, not. Our brewmaster would use some honey. I'm not a fan of honey beers, so, and just the cost of honey. I mean, we do get a lot of free honey with the bees that we use in the almonds.
Okay.
Our bee guys will give us cases and cases of honey, but I'm not a fan of it in beer. So we have our core 4 that we're coming out with. So we have our Farmer's Light, a light lager. It's a little over 50% rice in the grain bill. I know Bud Light's around 40%, so we're right in that same range. We have a beer called 530. It's an unfiltered wheat, about 5% alcohol.
Maybe that's what I saw. Unfiltered
that's
wheat.
So wheat grown right here on site. It's a really just easy drinking beer. That was actually the first beer we released. There's a whole trademark story behind that. That beer changed names. I saw that 530 was available, which is our area code up here in the Northern California. And I saw it was available, so I ran to the office, and on the way to the office, the label has a pheasant on it. And we used to see pheasants all the time up here. They're dwindled down for some reason. I don't know foxes are eating them or something. But on the way to go put that in for trademark, pheasant ran across the road. I'm like, oh, that's perfect sign, you know. So 6 months later, trademark calls me, and they're like, oh yeah, you got it. Someone else put in for it a day after you did. And I'm like, oh, good. I beat him by a day. So that was really good that we got that trademark by 1 day.
Yeah.
And so we have our session IPA, sun up till sundown. And then we have a Mexican lager called Valle. So the name behind that, I wanted to come up with a Mexican lager. I think they're good beers, and I think we can make a good one with, the rice. And so I had a name for it, and I go to the guys. We have quite a few Hispanic guys that work for us on the farm. Great guys. And I went to them, and I'm like, I want you guys to, this is your beer. I want you guys to name it. So they came up with Valle, which means valley, and then one of the guys actually drew the label for us, and so it's nice to have everybody help out on this sort of stuff.
And feel a part of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because it's not farmer brewing; it's farmers
brewing. Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's awesome. Well, I'm very excited to see what you guys come up with in the next few months and really get out there.
Yeah, we have several other brands, but right now it's from the big brewery. You can't just go brew a batch and go, we'll get rid of that.
Yeah.
Because in the beginning, we're still building our customer base. That's why we're sticking with the 4. And, you know, we have 4 other ones plus some seasonals that we'll come out with. We make a one called Winter Migration. So,
Okay.
Because we have all the geese and the ducks that come through here and live in the rice fields in the winter. We flood them up, and it's nice to sit outside and hear all the geese at night. But so we brewed a beer, and it is like a Baltic porter, and we use our almonds straight from
nice.
harvest. We toast them a little bit, put them in there, and then we use some like rum and brandy barrel chips in it. And for us, it's darker beer. It's kind of out of our style, but it uses, like I said, our stuff. We toast rice in it. It's one of my new favorites, actually.
That's awesome, and it sounds delicious. You get a Baltic porter with almonds. I'm on board.
Yeah, it's very good.
Yeah, and then I was just thinking, like, you got to have like a fallow season or something like that beer.
Yeah, so we have our seasonal. We call it spring planting, summer kickback. So there you go. Our summer kickback would be your more. We haven't brewed that one yet. We have fall harvest and winter migration. So those will be our 4 seasonals, and we have another. You heard the Toby Keith song, Rattle Can Red. So we have a red beer called Rattle Can Red.
Okay.
We have a 100% rice. We call it a loaded liquid. It's not a beer.
Okay.
We've been tweaking that. So it can be a cross between a sake, sangria, kombucha. It's a really different, not a beer again,
right?
But so it's gluten free. Originally, it was had ginger and lime, so we called it like a Moscow Mule. So it's called Stubborn Mule. That's where the name came from. But we've changed it a little bit, and that's down the road. We'll release that, but it's just one of those. Maybe it plays into that seltzer, the hard seltzer market.
Yeah,
now.
that alternate alcohol market.
Yeah.
And I think a sake would be pretty cool. Like it's like, hey, we not only do a light lager, but we get real classy with the sake. So it's like it runs the gamut on it.
Yeah. So the rice we use is the same rice that they use in sake. It's gone through an extra process. There's different grades of sake. There's ginjo, daiginjo, and it's all how much the rice is milled down to get rid of any fat or bran or anything. So it's pure starch, and that's the type of rice that we use. It's our rice, but we send it through an extra process. Just during the trials, I learned some stuff.
Always a learning process.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah. Well, that sounds incredible. Unfortunately, I do have to leave. I'm the worst. I'm the worst host of all time.
That's all right.
But I'm very excited to see what happens, and we'll check back with you if that's okay. If you want to come back on once you've got everything up and running, we'll
that'd be great.
See how things are going with the tap rooms going.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Get very excited. But in the meantime, where can people find you guys? Like where you have taps? Where are you online?
If you go to our Instagram, you can see. We've gone from 0 to 100 accounts here in a month, basically. Nice. From Redding to Sacramento, we just hit
100 accounts.
Yeah,
that's a lot.
It's going well.
Yeah,
the guy, our distribution, I hired a guy that's run distribution, and he has a lot of contacts in the business. He's been in business quite a long time, and he says he's never seen anything catch on like this really fast. So I'm happy that a big pizza joint was taking us on, and they're taking off some of the standard American, or can't say Bud Light's American. It's a foreign beer, but we're
domestics.
We're taking over those tap handles, which is it's great to have.
Because that's what I think.
It's a local American, real honest company,
Right, and everybody knows that you need to focus on local when you're doing beer. Now.
Yeah.
I love watching those trends change where you see those tap handles disappearing.
Yes.
Because there's a similar beer made locally, and people are more likely to drink that.
It's fun,
and you can charge a premium.
Yeah. You go in, and we just saw a post on how Kona Brewing's coming out with this light lager, and they have this big island theme, and it's not even brewed in Hawaii.
No,
it's
up in
it's almost
now.
like fraud.
Yeah. Well, it's like you can put anything on a label.
Yes. And we're as pure as it gets here from you can see right out the brewery where there's where that grain came from right there.
Yeah. Which I think everybody really appreciates. And I think restaurants and things like that are starting to realize that you're going to sell more of the big brands, like slowly it's being encroached on. You need to be ahead of that curve, and again, you can charge a premium for it. So it's like you win twice if you're if you're in the restaurant
our pricing is right on where they can charge a little bit. I mean, they make a better margin, the restaurants, on that than they do the other beers. So it's a win-win.
Yeah, you don't got some guy breathing down your neck,
right?
Demanding things and saying like, if you don't do this, I'm going to pull this tap. And you're like, great, I've got things to fill it. I don't need you around, because it used to be like big power moves, and now I think there's a little bit of panic. And if you're one more wrench in the system, like, good.
Yeah, to me, it's always been, say Bud Light's the number one beer in America, and it's not even owned by an American company. That kind of, that's just tough to take,
Yeah, exactly. So that's way to get your boots and some behinds.
Yep.
But so where can people follow you on Instagram? Is that it? This is my favorite part. Nobody ever knows.
No,
nobody ever knows.
It's Farmers Brewing or Farmers Brewing Co. The Instagram and the Facebook are two.
It'll populate
one or the other. Yeah.
There's
no Twitter though. Sorry.
You know what? I've noticed that people are not really doing beer Twitter as much as far as breweries, because it's you don't get the hits. You don't.
No, I don't see that it hasn't really advantageous for us.
Yeah, because Instagram's the ideal for beer. You get these pictures. You can stage them. It looks beautiful. Beer's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
You see that line of bubbles running up.
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, people have been following us from construction on, and it's great. We've had a great loyal followers, and every day you see how many more people join, especially now that we're finally getting out there. It's neat to see.
Yeah, I'm very excited to see what the future holds as people become more aware of you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
As this brand builds, because you're farm to glass within your own community, within your own business.
That's our our tagline is "Put your lips on a farmer." Took my wife a while to let that one go, and that's the clean version, by the way.
Right, exactly.
But we get people coming out here to buy merchandise that says that. Say, "Oh, I saw that some person at McDonald's was wearing it. We had to come out and buy some stuff." And you can buy it online. My wife's been on the merchandise, and that's a whole nother animal. And she's done a fabulous job with it.
Yeah, that's awesome, Bill. That's great. So this has been episode 121 of Barley and Me. You can follow Barley and Me across social media at Barley and Me Pod, or check it out, barleyandmepod.com. T-shirts available through Zen Threads at zen-threads.com. And I want to give a shout out to Be Brave, Bold Robot for the theme song. And thank you so much for listening. Get home safe.